Find your way to a comfortable kneeling position, placing a block or a bolster underneath your sits bones. If you don't have one available, just find a cross-legged seat or whatever other position works best for you. When you arrive, close your eyes and start to check in with your breath. Scan your body, noticing any bits of tension you might be holding on to. Relax the face, draw the shoulders away from the ears. Sit up a little taller through the crown of the head as you stack your spine, and breathe. Today's flow has a lot of hip opening poses in it. It's based around the Sacral Chakra, Svadhisthana. And this chakra is said to govern our creativity. When things are happy in this part of our body, we are more able to feel joy, feel happiness, feel empathy. So as you flow, I encourage you to find creativity in your movement, bring joy onto your mat. And sometimes opening up our hips can bring up a lot of different emotions, and that can make us feel a little bit vulnerable at times. And so I encourage you to remember that this is your space, your mat, your time. So know that you are safe on your mat. Whatever comes up as you flow is just for you. It doesn't need to be shared with anyone else. This time, this space is yours and yours alone. So you are safe to move through your flow in whatever way you need. When you're ready, take a big inhale through the nose, expanding the ribs, filling the lungs, and at the top, open your mouth, sigh it out. On your next inhale, reach the arms up overhead, and exhale, bring your hands to heart center. Maybe you take a moment here to set an intention for your practice. Or maybe you just take a moment to think of something that brings joy to your life. Take a moment to feel gratitude for the things that bring you joy or the people that bring you happiness. Just acknowledge that. When you're ready, remove the block from underneath you. Take the big toes together, take the knees wide, and walk your hands forward into child's pose. Maybe you find a sway with the hips here. Maybe you rock the head side to side. Again, invite some creativity into your practice today. Do what feels good for your body. When you've had enough, pull yourself forward and make your way into down dog. First one of the day here, so really take a moment to clarify your foundation, check your spacing, ground through the fingers, open the shoulders, maybe you pedal out the feet, shake the hips, shake the head, really just settle in, wake up the body, and once again, find your breath. On an inhale, rise up onto the toes, lifting the heels. And take tiny steps all the way to the top of your mat, coming into a forward fold. On your next inhale, bring the fingertips to the shins, rise up halfway with a flat back. Exhale, forward fold. Again, maybe you find some side to side movement here. Shake the head. And then find your way back to center. And on an inhale, rise all the way up, arms overhead. Exhale, hands to heart center. Inhale, arms up. Shift the weight into the left foot. Take the right wrist in the left hand. And then step backwards and diagonal, almost like you're going to do a curtsy with your right foot. And then lean to the left. So coming into Lakshmi pose here, getting a gentle opening of the right side body. Take a few breaths. And then exhale the arms down, step forward, coming into Tadasana, mountain pose. From here, take the right foot and cross it over the left. Your goal is to bring your pinky toes right next to each other. If they don't quite get there, no worries. On an inhale, reach the arms up, and then exhale, fold over your legs, bringing your hands to a block, to your fingertips, or maybe all the way to the floor. Relax the head here. Breathe space into your left hamstring. When you're ready, rise up. Uncross the feet, lift the arms overhead. Inhale, get really tall. Exhale, lead with the heart, swan dive, forward fold. Inhale, rise up halfway, flat back. Exhale to fold. From here, plant the hands, step back, high plank. You have the option to move right into down dog, or get strong through the core, send the shoulders forward, lower halfway down chaturanga. Come onto the tops of the feet, straighten your arms, up dog. Lift the hips, roll over the toes, down dog. So that's your vinyasa, and you'll have the option to take that throughout the practice, or you can always move right into down dog or take a break in child's pose. Again, this is your time, so do what fits you best. On your next inhale, rise up onto the toes. Take tiny tiptoes to the front of your mat, forward fold. On an inhale, rise up, flat back, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Take a moment here. Maybe you grab opposite elbows, coming into a ragdoll. Take those sways side to side. Whatever creative, organic movement feels good for you. When you've had enough, release the hands, rise all the way up, arms overhead. Exhale, hands to heart center. From here, one more time, inhale, arms up. This time, take the left wrist in the right hand, stepping back and diagonal with the left foot. Lean over to the right. So Lakshmi pose. On the other side here, opening up the left side body. When you're ready, come back to center. Release the arms, mountain pose. Take the left foot and cross it over the right, imagining the pinky toes will touch. If not, no worries. Inhale the arms up overhead. Exhale, fold forward over the legs. Hands coming to blocks, fingertips, or the floor. Let gravity help you here. Let your head get really heavy. Breathe space into your right hamstring, the back of your right leg. When you've had enough, slowly come back up. Uncross the feet. Inhale the arms up overhead, grow tall. And on an exhale, swan dive, forward fold. Inhale, rise halfway up, flat back. Exhale to fold. Plant the hands, step the feet back. Option to take a vinyasa, and we'll meet in down dog. When you arrive, take 2 full breaths. When you're ready, lift the heels, gaze forward, step, hop, or float to the top of your mat, forward fold. On an inhale, rise up, halfway lift. Exhale to fold. On an inhale, bend the knees, lift the chest, coming into chair pose. Sink the shoulders down the back, get strong through the legs. Imagine that you're going to rip your mat apart with your feet. Pull the ribs in. On an exhale, straighten the legs, drop the arms, coming into mountain pose, Tadasana. Palms face forward, weight is centered over the feet. Bring the hands to heart center and shift your weight into your left foot. Come up onto the right toes and then start to cross the right ankle over the left knee, making a figure 4 here. Start to bend into the left knee, sinking lower. Flex the right toes. You should start to feel a stretch in the right outer hip. And maybe you stay here, or maybe you fold forward, again taking the hands to a block or fingertips, or maybe the floor. So find the expression that works best for you. Breathe space into your hip. When you've had enough, slowly lift the right knee in front of you, coming into one-legged Tadasana. From here, step your right foot back, coming into high lunge, arms overhead. Whatever wobbles happen along the way, no worries. Those are part of the practice. They're part of the fun. From your high lunge, inhale, grow tall. Exhale, bring your hands down to the mat, frame your front foot. Root through your right hand. Lift the left arm up to the ceiling, twisting the heart open. Exhale to bring the left hand back down to the mat. Drop your back knee. Inhale, arms up overhead, low crescent lunge. On an inhale, grow tall, and on your next exhale, bend the elbows, open the heart, mini back bend, lean back. Inhale the arms back up. Exhale to plant the hands on the mat. Straighten the back leg, step back to high plank. Option for a vinyasa, and we'll meet in down dog. When you arrive, check in with your breath. Take a moment to settle in. On your next inhale, rise up onto the toes, gaze forward. Step, hop, or float to the top of your mat. Forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale to fold. Inhale, bend the knees, rise up to chair. Draw the shoulders down the back as you get strong through the legs. Pull the ribs in. Maybe see if you can sink just a little lower. Exhale, rise up, arms down, coming into mountain pose, Tadasana. From here, bring the hands to heart center. Start to shift your weight into your right foot. Take time to set up your foundation here, spreading the toes, grounding through all 3 points of the foot. As you begin to cross your left ankle over your right knee and sink the hips low. Once again, option to stay here, or maybe you start to fold forward over your leg. When you've had enough, slowly rise up. Lift your left knee in front of you, coming into one-legged mountain pose. Slowly, and with control, start to step your left foot back, coming into high lunge. Arms up overhead. Take a moment to settle in here, get strong through both your legs. Inhale, grow tall. Exhale, hands come down to the mat, frame your front foot. Root through the left fingers, the left hand, and on an inhale, reach the right arm high to the sky, twist the heart open. Stay strong through the legs, breathe space into your right hip. Bring both hands back down to the mat, drop your back knee. Inhale, arms up, low crescent lunge. On your next exhale, bend the elbows, open your heart, gaze up, mini back bend. Inhale to reach the arms back up overhead, and exhale them down to the mat. Straighten the back leg, step back, flowing your way, back to down dog. On your next inhale, lift your right heel high to the sky, and then bend your knee and open your hip off to the side. Try to keep your shoulders stacked here. Maybe you take a moment to flip your dog, if that's in your practice. Maybe you make some circles with your ankle. Maybe you circle your knee. Again, this is a moment to find your creativity in your practice. When you've had enough, bring your right heel straight up to the ceiling, and then exhale, bring knee to nose. Inhale, right heel high. Exhale, step forward in between your hands. From here, start to walk all of your fingers over to the left. Spin the toes to the long edge of the mat and sink your hips, coming into Skandasana here. So when you arrive, right toes are pointed a little bit out to the side. Left toes point up towards the ceiling, hips sit low. Maybe your heel comes down to the mat, maybe not. Adjust your spacing however you need to. Maybe your hands come to the floor, maybe overhead, maybe heart center. Again, this is your time. Bring your hands to the center. Lift your hips up through the middle and shift over Skandasana on the other side. Walk your hands to the center, straighten out both legs, and keep both feet slightly pointed out. From here, bend the knees and bring the hands to the knees or kind of the inside of the thighs. Coming into goddess squat here with our hands on our legs. And then dip your right shoulder forward, bring it back through center, and then your left. So just taking a little bit of side to side movement here in our goddess squat. You can kind of use your hands to find a little extra stretch in the inner thighs. Whenever you've had enough, rise up, straightening the legs. Turn your toes so that your feet face forward or a little bit in. Inhale the arms up overhead. Exhale, swan dive, forward fold. So coming into our wide leg forward fold here, again, maybe you find some movement by shaking the hips. Maybe you shake the head. Maybe you start to sway side to side, taking a figure 8 or an infinity sign with the fingertips. Again, find some movement here. And when you're ready, start to walk your hands back over to the right. Turn all 10 toes to the top of your mat. Ground through your hands. Step back to high plank. Option for a vinyasa. And we'll meet in down dog. Take a few breaths here. Taking it to the other side, inhale, lift your left heel high. Bend the knee, open the hips. Try to keep the shoulders in line. Whatever movement you took on the first side, do that here. So maybe some ankle rolls, maybe a flip dog. Circles with the knee. When you've had enough, re-straighten your left leg, and on an exhale, shift forward, bring your left knee to your nose. Exhale, left heel high. Inhale. And then exhale to step it forward in between your hands. From here, start to walk your hands over to the right. Spin your toes to the long edge of your mat. Drop your hips. Finding Skandasana. So this time, right toes face the ceiling. Left toes are a little bit out. Chest tall, breathe space into your hip. And when you're ready, slowly walk your hands through the middle and shift your weight over to the other side. Walk your hands to the middle as you straighten both legs. Turn both feet a little bit out to the side. And then bend the knees, bringing the hands up to the thighs, coming back into your goddess squat. And again, find some movement with the shoulders. Or maybe this time you take the forearms and the elbows to the inner thighs. Pressing backwards, and maybe you find a little sway. So whatever variation of goddess squat feels good for you, take that. Only when you've had enough. Straighten the legs, rise up. Turn the toes forward or a little bit in. Inhale as you grow long. Exhale, wide leg forward fold. Maybe this time you take the hands behind you through the legs and find a little bit of traction. Maybe you take a different variation than you did the first time. When you've had enough, walk your hands over to the left, bringing them back to the top of the mat as you spin your toes. Step back to your high plank and flow your way, coming back to down dog. In your down dog, take your feet wide, almost to the edge of your mat, and turn your toes out a little bit. From here, start to walk your hands towards your feet as you sink your hips low, finding our way into Malasana, yogi squat. So take a moment to arrive here, adjust your spacing however you need. Maybe the hands stay on the floor. Maybe they come to heart center. You have the option here to press into the inner thighs with the elbows. Maybe you take a gentle little rock side to side. Again, find some creativity in your flow today. When you've had enough, walk your hands forward. Drop your knees down to the mat. Big toes come together. Arms walk out. Find your way to child's pose. Take one more full breath here. And then start to walk your hands towards your body, lifting your chest up. And when you arrive, take your feet off to one side, swing them around and come into a sit. Moving into fire log pose here. If this is a little bit intense for you, you can place a block underneath your sits bones, or maybe you just come to a regular cross-legged seat if you're really tight in your hips. For fire log, take your left shin, flex the toes, make it roughly parallel to the short edge of your mat. Stack your right foot on top of your left knee and sit tall. So maybe you stay here, or maybe you take the fingertips to the mat out in front of you, keeping a long spine, and start to walk them forward. Really deep hip opening here. Breathe space into your low back, into your hips. Something I really like is to find a pocket of ease or a pocket of comfort within the pose, within your discomfort. Try to find that pocket. And as you breathe, try to sink a little lower with each exhale. When you've had enough, go slower than you want to go, walking the hands in towards the body, and unwind the feet. Extend both legs out in front of you. Take a moment to shake out the legs, reset the hips, and we'll take it to the other side. Right shin is parallel to the short edge of your mat. Left foot stacks on top of right knee. Sit tall. Maybe one side feels different than the other, and that's okay. Typically, we're tighter on one side than we are on the other, just because of our daily lives and the stuff that we do more often with our dominant side. With each inhale, try to go really long through your spine, and as you exhale, sink a little bit lower in your pose, find a little bit more ease. Slowly start to walk the hands back up. Unwind the legs, take them straight out in front of you. Give them a little shake. And when you're ready, find your way onto your back. From here, lift both feet up to the ceiling, flex the toes, and then cross the right leg over the left, imagining that our knees are going to stack. Bend the knees and reach for either the shins, the ankles, or maybe the outsides of the feet. So a supine cow face pose here, Gomukhasana. Gently start to draw the knees in towards your chest. And again, maybe you take a little movement side to side here, or not. When you've had enough, extend the feet back up to the ceiling, unwind the legs, and take it to the other side. Left knee crosses over right, imagining that they'll stack, reaching for the shins, the ankles, or the outside edge of the feet. Gently pull towards you. Try to keep your low back on the mat here. And again, as you breathe, try to find some ease within your pose. Imagine that you will send breath into your hips. When you've had enough, extend the feet, unwind the legs, and then take your feet down to the mat. Keep the left foot planted on the mat, cross the right ankle over the left knee, again coming into a figure 4 shape. Maybe you decide to stay here, or maybe you draw the left knee towards your face, adding a little bit more stretch. So you can interlace the fingers here behind the left thigh. And once again, maybe that little bit of movement side to side will feel good. Just getting into that hip, cooling down the body. Take it back to center and release both legs back down to the mat. Take both feet flat on the mat, bend the knees, and then slowly take some windshield wipers side to side. And then move to the other leg. So left ankle crosses over right knee. Option to just hang out here, or maybe you start to lift the right knee up, bringing the legs towards the face. Interlacing the fingers behind the right thigh for a little more intensity. An option for some side to side movement. When you've had enough, release your legs, put both feet flat on the mat, knees bent. A few more windshield wipers. Feel free to take any other poses that might feel good for you. And whenever you're ready, extend your arms, extend your legs, and start to find your way into Shavasana. Really take your time to settle in here, taking up as much or as little space as you need. Tuck the chin slightly so the back of the neck stays long. Relax the muscles in the face. Let go of your conscious breath. And let gravity help you feel heavy, help you sink into your mat as you find your way to stillness. If you're ready to seal in your practice, start to bring awareness to your fingers and toes, taking little movements to wake up the body. Maybe you take a full body stretch, reaching the arms overhead. Take your time, eventually rolling to one side or the other, coming into the fetal position. And then finally finding your way to a comfortable seat. Take your right hand, place it on top of your heart, and put your left hand on top. Take a moment to acknowledge yourself for stepping onto your mat today. Remember that wherever you go after this in life, or wherever you have come from, you deserve to feel joy. You deserve to be happy. And you deserve to be loved. Thank you so much for sharing your time with me. Namaste.